This stadium reminded me of Charlie Brown's Christmas tree. It could have been so much nicer with just a tiny bit of love. These owners did not care about the A's, they don't care about Oakland, they didn't care about the fan. They clearly did not care about this stadium. They can argue that they technically did not own this stadium, which is true. But when they're paying over $1 billion for a new stadium in Vegas, they could have easily paid, say, $10 to put some art on the wall here, or $100 to fix this water fountain, or $1,000 to put up a lemonade stand, or $10,000 to update the scoreboard. I think this "co" is from a previous sponsor that ended 8 years before this game. Or they could put up $10,000 to fix this other scoreboard, which looked even worse. For many years, there were rumors that the Oakland A's could leave Oakland. And sadly, in the spring of 2024, those rumors were confirmed. So that spring, my friend and I decided to visit the Bay Area to see what all this moving fuss was all about. And what we found was a beautiful ballpark that had fallen into the hands of people who really don't care. The Oakland Alameda Overstock McAfee.co Stadium, or whatever you want to call it, is located in the East Bay, just south of Oakland. And it's been the home of the A's since 1968, when they moved from Kansas City. To get there, we drove along I-880, and were able to find it pretty easily. And we parked in the parking lot! I emphasize that because I don't typically park at parking lots. I usually take public transit. And I was shocked at how much the parking was, because at $30 for parking, it was almost as much as the tickets. I found out later there was a BART train and even an Amtrak train that goes right to the stadium. And in hindsight, I probably should have taken that. The ticket prices were also a bit of a shock. This game had such little demand that there wasn't many tickets available on resale sites. More on that in a minute. Getting into the stadium took a long time. The security line was very long, and I wasn't completely sure why. But I suspected it was because of a lot of people bringing backpacks into the stadium. And while I like how all the backpacks were not automatically banned, it definitely added some time. The gates were named after A's legends. I entered through Gate D, or the Dennis Eckersley Gate. There is also a Gate C for Catfish Hunter. Going back to the lack of ticket demand, I noticed that there were a lot of empty seats. No tickets were being sold for the upper deck, so I wasn't surprised they were open, but there was a lot of lower bowl seats open as well. However, it wasn't very hard to see why no one wanted to come. The A's were playing the Marlins, who, well, they were having a dismal season. Nick Gordon was actually safe, but then he took his hand off the bag and was out. I thought this attempted steal was a good microcosm of the Marlins season and really most of their existence so far. And the A's were more competitive, but not lighting the world on fire either. Of course, the team had already announced their intentions to move. So asking fans to come to the game to support an owner who's taking your team away and see a lowly opponent sounds like a tall order. Nevertheless, many fans did show up, and there were plenty of sell banners around this stadium. The Coliseum is some of my favorite ballpark features, mostly because they're kind of obscure. There are no dugout railings. There are some stairs in the outfield. But my absolute favorite part of this stadium was the on-field bullpen. And this is completely due to nostalgia. We used to see this in other stadiums, but now they're mostly extinct. Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg is the last one remaining. Overall, it's probably good that the bullpens are no longer on the field. In this clip, the pitcher is actually practicing on the field, which isn't ideal in case a ball is hit to him or something. But wait, there's more cool features. Like this manual scoreboard. And these car ads. I don't like mentioning ads, but I love these cars. And they're at the Giants ballpark too. Of Of course, like every modern stadium, they have video boards as well. The Coliseum had some cool promotions on these video boards as well, like this virtual dot race or whatever that race is for. And the Sonic the Hedgehog style adventure video, which I thought was great. And of course, they had a big head person race. Which was surprisingly not won by Ricky. Speaking of Ricky Henderson, this field is named after him. And I thought it was a really nice looking field too. The grass shined really nicely in the sun. So shout out to the grounds crew for such a nice job. Of course, a visit to the Coliseum wouldn't be complete without an adventure into the upper deck. We took a very long hallway to the upper deck, and we found nothing! No tickets were sold to the upper deck, so I wasn't surprised to not see a lot of people, but there wasn't much going on, and nothing was open. It was a bit like a stadium ghost town, which I actually found really cool. There were great views of Oakland, San Francisco, and the hills around the area though. Speaking of these hills, the ballpark used to have a great view of these hills. Until Mount Davis. Here's the Coliseum before Mount Davis, and here's Mount Davis, which is this giant section of outfield seats that block the views. Mount Davis was built in the late 80s to entice the Raiders back from Los Angeles, which was successful. But by this point, the Raiders were gone, and Mount Davis's only purpose was to hold tarps. Some displayed retired numbers. And it had flags too. I really tried to get up into the upper deck of Mount Davis, but I wasn't able to. But we did briefly sit at the foothill of Mount Davis in this lower section. The view was okay. Of course, not all the hallways were completely dead like the upper deck. The lower deck was brimming with people, mostly to get food, because what would a baseball game be without food? The Coliseum seemed to have standard food, and like most ballparks, the longest line was for ice cream. The food was expensive though. It's a bit hard to see in this picture, but that veggie dog was almost $8. I wasn't able to find a standard hot dog price, but there was an ad for a hot dog, so I probably missed it. But that veggie dog price was nothing compared to the tacos. I mean, $25 for a taco bowl and water? And almost $30 for the bowl with a soda? What planet was this ownership on? They clearly weren't on Earth, or at least in Oakland, with how bad some of these hallways looked. Many stands were closed. Some areas had food signs, but no sign of anything actually being sold here. This drinking fountain was broken. And certain areas, like this picture from Mount Davis, had absolutely nothing going on. There were so many areas that looked like they needed to be cleaned or repainted. I guess it could have been worse. Some areas though, like this history wall, were very vibrant with really cool posters and art. It would have been awesome to have seen more of this. This neglect was really unfortunate because the Coliseum had some great seat views. Here, take a look. To be fair, some of these pictures were a bit zoomed in, but overall, the seat views are great. Unfortunately for the A's, they ended up losing by a lot. So, after the game, we left the park and went to downtown Oakland, where we walked around the lake and got some Korean food, which was great. I've mentioned it before, and I'll mention it again, but these owners did not care about the A's, they don't care about Oakland, they didn't care about the fans. They clearly did not care about this stadium. And because of that, it's really unfortunate that the city of Oakland has to lose their baseball team just because some trillionaire didn't care at all. I'll miss this ballpark though. It has so much history, and it deserves a much better ending. Maybe someday we can go back in time and give it a better ending. After all, I found a DeLorean that night. Although the A's have left, you can still visit the stadium. The USL's Oakland Roots play a few games here, and last year, the Oakland Soul and even a few cricket matches were played here as well. Also, if you're an A's fan, then I feel horrible of what you had to go through. I can't imagine losing my ball team. That would be so sad. Well, sorry about the sad note, but thank you so much for watching. If you have a favorite Oakland Coliseum memory or cool fact, then feel free to leave it in the comments.